search and rescue officer, together with her canine companion, has died while searching for a person missing in the floods. The police officer is said to work at the Pietermaritzburg branch. Please note that the following report by Newzroom Afrika's Pelane Phakgadi contains graphic images and may upset sensitive viewers.
On Sunday, of course, rescue operations, and not even to talk about the rescue in itself, but the retrieval operations have been continuing in KwaZulu-Natal, in particular in eThekwini, the way in Inanda, and as well as surrounding areas where reports of missing people are still very much on the list. But perhaps maybe let's just bring in a gift of the givers, and that is Dr. Imshias Suleiman. Thank you very much for joining us on Newzroom 45. And perhaps even before we get to that, I'm sure a somber mood that you've seen here on the camp. People have been calling for a moment of silence when we have arrived earlier on. One of the SAPS members unfortunately had died during the operation. I'm sure your own reaction to that?
Yes, it's very heartbreaking when people risk their lives to help somebody else. The lady's from my hometown, from Maritzburg, and even the dog has been lost. These dogs are well trained. It takes a long time to train a dog like that. But also the human loss is a tremendous loss to all the members. It's Easter weekend. It's Easter Sunday. The person have sacrificed their long weekend to come and be, and everybody here, the person who passed on, and everybody who's here, who's come from Cape Town, Limpopo, Free State, different parts of the country to come and help fellow being. It's highly admirable. It's a huge source of blessing, and we are fortunate in the country that we have such dedicated personnel from around the country who do everything, who risk their life to save somebody else, and this makes us a great country.
I'll tell you what, we were here in the morning and she was just as bubbly, and we condolences to the family there. But perhaps give us an indication, gift of the givers, you've been on the operation as well, and it must have been difficult, and some places you are unable to retrieve bodies because of the rubble and the concrete slabs.
It's not some places, it's most of the places. When we actually brought teams to join the KZN Promotional Disaster Management, and I applaud them for calling for people for help from outside, because this is a massive task. It can't be done by one province only, because the need is huge. But from a few days ago, when our teams are doing the normal distribution of food parcels and water, and they go into an area and somebody says somebody's in the house, collapsed. Somebody says there's a smell of the body somewhere else. Somebody says my children are missing. Somebody says the grandfather is missing. And then the height of it was when my teams were in Inanda, they saw people sitting on the edge of the river. So he asked them in Zulu, they said, what are you doing here? And it's dangerous, why are you guys sitting there? They said, we're waiting for the bodies of our relatives to flow down so we can catch them. And at that point it struck me that this is a real big issue. So what we did is we put out a call, and we said, send a message, a WhatsApp message to this number, so that we know how many people are missing. If there is a big number, and for us also to know if you know who's missing and do you need help. The numbers started rising astronomically. Family lost 10 members, family lost 9 members, family lost 5 members. People don't know how many other people are lost. And the way the numbers have been coming in, my child is missing, my father is missing, my sister is missing, I lost 2 children. It's heartbreaking. And people are saying, we are in some area here, the buildings have fallen on them, the mud has fallen on them, we can't take them out, we're digging for such a long time. And that information I've been feeding to the command center all the time. In fact, there's still more than half I got to send them, because it just keeps coming in. And the problem is, it seems to be mostly in Inanda, Molweni, and one other is Molweni, and one other area in Pinetown. Those 3 areas seems to have the most amount of people missing. And when you send the teams out, the mountain of mud is a huge problem to move. It's very, very difficult, and even you can't put the equipment to the roads to get there is too narrow, so you can't move heavy equipment inside there. It's going to be a huge challenge to try to get the missing people out.
Yeah, very much heartbreaking. Perhaps as we round up, what are some of the requests that you still have outstanding to the public? Because people will still have to go to work some point, people will still have to go to schools, and people will still have to leave their homes that you've set up to at least start building up their own homes.
Well, it's important now that within the next few days, people should start getting back to their homes. But if they do have a home, people may have to build, like informal settlements. They may have to put up the shack type of houses, and building kits will be required. But they need a land that's safe, that's not in the floodplain, and that government has to sort out. But we prepare to start providing building kits for the informal settlements when it's decided. But it can't take too long, because life has to start again. People have to get back to work. Schools have to open up. There are some schools that are damaged. We're looking at repairing some of the schools. So school damage, building kids to start work again. We need to give them a food parcel in each house that starts a hygiene kit, blankets, mattresses that require, all that stuff requires funding. Besides all the areas that we've supported in terms of, the food, the water, and of course water. Water is a big requirement still in Durban, but the purification plants are not online. And that's affecting non-flood victims also, because people can't get water. It's difficult to get hold of. You can't get enough in the shops. So we're supplying, even we're running out. But we've ordered lots of super links of bottled water coming this week, making it available to help in Durban. So those are all the main needs right now.
Sulman, thank you very much. Gift of the givers there. Of course, still a lot that still needs to be done, and a lot of pointers that you can pick up there. There are people who are still stuck under rubble, under mud, and families coming on someone to say, I lost my father, my children are missing, my mother is missing, my sister I have not been able to see since the floods, my brother is missing. Those are some of the words that you find when you go into the KwaZulu-Natal area, in particular Inanda, where we spend the Sunday on. Quite heartbreaking, and the call, of course, is for more assistance and humanitarian aid to come through to the area. And more so, a somber moment after the SAPS has lost one of their own when they were going through one of the operations to try and retrieve the bodies here. One lady had passed away, and also very much important, a canine unit dog was also, unfortunately, had also perished in that very incident. It takes a long time, we're told, to train such a dog, and it is a tool that is lost to the SAPS in trying to find the people who are currently buried under deep rubble. For Newzroom Afrika, Channel 405, I'm Phakgadi, KwaZulu-Natal, Durban.